voting at 6 in the evening. Now by 9, we have results from polling station transmitted to Kenyans. Why, Mr. Speaker, this is very important, is to clear the suspicion which has battled us for the last 3-4 elections in this country and create confidence with Kenyans. Their votes are not tampered with the following day. If they clear that, I can assure you, Mr. Speaker, we'll have the most peaceful transition of election 2027.
Chairman, can you now answer that? Who is that with the Tarabush? Betsimba.
Yes, sir.
Betsimba.
Asante sana. Yes, boss.
Go ahead.
Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Spika. Swali langu liko la kwa mwenyekiti ni siku ya uchaguzi. Siku ile ya uchaguzi wanasema kwamba kila chama kiwe na agenti mmoja ambaye anaangalia kura 6. Kwa nini ama ni sababu gani inawazuia kwamba kila mgombea awe na mtu ambaye anamchungia na muamini? Hiyo ndio swali na kwao nawapatia.
Nashukuru, Chairman. I think now we have taken virtually everybody. Can you respond to all those? Some are overlapping. Some are on the same issues.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I'll attempt to answer, but I can also give to some of my colleagues. Yes, okay. There was the question around the register, and I think that has been asked by Honorable Hassan. I think there is a process through which we handle the register. So at the moment, since we resumed the voter registration at the constituencies, then once we do the mass voter registration, we want to capture as much data as possible. And then, of course, going forward, there are those processes that are provided for in law. We will need to do the verification of data by the individual voters. We open that, that process is open. But also, the register goes through audit by a reputable firm, which will check now for us the register to ensure that we clean it properly. But more importantly, the register is a public document, and we publish the register. By the time you are going to your elections in Kamukunji constituency, for example, we have a register specific for Kamukunji. And that register, the one we publish in the Kenya Gazette, must match with what we have in the KIEMS kit, the Kenya Integrated Election Management System, the digital register that we will use during elections. And again, it's a consultative process that political parties need to be active players in it. Individual members of parliament need to pay particular attention to it, so that at the end of the day, we have a voter register or a voter's roll that meets the integrity tests, that can be verified, that is acceptable to all Kenyans. And that is what we will do this time round. So we urge you to follow and be active as we undertake the voter registration, but also the verification and the audit of the voters' roll and the final publication. On the issue of dealing with violence, honestly, I don't think IEBC alone has the solution to this menace or to this very unfortunate thing called violence in our electoral system. So as stakeholders, as we IEBC do our bit to enforce the Electoral Code of Conduct, let us also do our part. And if it means strengthening the law, please let us strengthen the law. If it means enforcement mechanism, if it means creating that specialized unit within IEBC to police the electoral environment, if it means giving us the prosecutorial powers, let us think outside the box. Let us do something about it. For now, we will continue lamenting, we continue sharing our sentiments, and yet it is us, the leaders of this country, that must do something about this phenomenon. So please let us think about it, because I believe this was a dialogue, an interactive dialogue for us to share our ideas on how to make things better. The party list, I think Commissioner Nderitu, you've interacted with this thing for many years, and I do know, again, there is a procedure for which political parties do their nomination, or the party primaries. There is a procedure within which they decide who to put in the party list, and there's a process through which we publicize and we publish. So I think Commissioner Nderitu will explain in response to Honorable Mishimboko's question. In terms of linking our registration process, Honorable Bowen, I think. You know, in Kenya, we have various registration systems. When you are born, you registered as a child born in this country. You are issued with a birth certificate. Then when you attain 18, actually, by the time you report to your nursery school, you are registered again as a nursery school pupil or child, ECD. When you move to primary, again, you go through another registration process. Junior secondary, senior secondary, all the way up to university. In the process, you attain 18, you are registered as a citizen, again issued with another document called the ID. You qualify to drive, you are registered again, you are given another document called the driver's license. All with different numbers, with different serial numbers, different expiry dates, and all that. So I think as a country, again, let us rethink the manner in which we register our populations, the manner in which we register our citizens, so that then if we can harmonize, then we will eliminate some of these costs. It's not that IEBC we would like to spend taxpayers' money, especially given the constrained physical environment, on registering voters. If we can have a system, one system, that can guarantee us that by the time you attain the voting age, automatically you are registered as a voter in the country. And I think other countries have done it, and we can borrow from their best practices. But we need to harmonize that with the changes in law and, of course, practice. So at the moment, we are actually working on that MOU so that then our systems can read one another, so that we can share data. And, of course, there are other systems as well. But if we harmonize that in terms of the legislation and practice, then we will eliminate those costs and the inconvenience around that and ensure integrity of the register. Honorable Parashina, my brother, I believe you have spoken about the issue of timely resources and the adequacy of the resources. So, Mheshimiwa, that was my appeal the whole afternoon, that whatever we need, if you can provide us on timely basis, so that if it is undertaking procurement, we do it on time. If it's the kits, we get these kits on time. And you know, in Kenya, of course, one of the major risks we face is this litigation left, right, and center. The moment we start major procurement like this, there'll be people, vendor wars, and all this. There's this whole ecosystem within the city. And these are the challenges we need to look at, even as we plan to provide funding and to support the Electoral Commission. Of course, issue of printing ballots locally, you heard when Mheshimiwa was asking this question, of course, not all of us support it. And if you put this question to Kenyans, again, people have different opinions. And it all boils down to that issue of trust. If we trust ourselves so much, we can print these boxes, ballot papers in the country. But if we are still suspicious about all these possibilities, then, of course, we need to have ballot papers with more security features and printed outside the country. And even when we print these ballot papers outside the country, we've had situations where sometimes we have to fly in, we have to ask the religious leaders to accompany our team to go and witness the ballot papers and hopefully pray for them, so that then we get the right papers that are blessed for us to guarantee that the electoral process and the outcomes will be credible and acceptable. So there's that issue which we must continue working. And sometimes trust, trust is not something you can walk to a supermarket and purchase. Trust is something that you build right from yourself, that you trust that being in this room, you are secure, you are safe, that going to eat the food we had over lunch or the tea we'll have after this session, that tea will be safe. It's more of an individual thing. And then it translates to a societal, to a community issue. Both in our constitution, in our institutions of governance such as IEBC, then we can address a lot of these other challenges that arise, including the cost of elections. On the issue of civil servants campaigning using government vehicles, again, this issue it's against the law, and we all know it. Civil servants must start campaigning after they have resigned and they have made up their minds that they are now venturing into this political sphere. And they must abide by the laws. And I've had situations where some sitting members of parliament have come to our offices and raised these issues with us. But what I've always advised is that report to us in writing. We are a country, again, governed by the rule of law. We as IEBC are also obligated to follow the Constitution, to follow the due process issues, to make sure then you don't just show up and complain without evidence, and then we go to Kitui or Turkana to look for somebody and take action on the basis of no evidence. So support us to report those incidences of electoral malpractices, including those ones perpetrated by civil servants. We need to bear in mind due process issues as we are also requested to deal with those issues. Issue of transmission of results, honestly, this issue, these commissioners are concerned, even for us internally. This is an issue we wake up every day to discuss with our secretariat. What is it that we can do differently to ensure that this time round, 2027, the result, that there will be no delays, even for those ones that we are transmitting through online, through the electronic system, and that the physical forms, Form 34As, Bs, and all that, you know those forms because you have interacted with them before. How do we ensure that this system is harmonized so that we get these results as quickly as possible? We are working on it. We are thinking through. We are discussing with different service providers in terms of technology. And we will be briefing you of those decisions that we will have taken as a commission to just ensure that we improve on the systems insofar as result transmission is concerned. And if we call upon you to change some aspects of regulations or the law, please do assist us as well.